Incredible billionaire discovers heartwarming girl's trash-eating struggle, unveiling a life-changing connection. Jake Thompson, a titan of industry, felt the weight of the world in his perfectly tailored suit. It didn't quite cushion the ache of memories flooding back as he returned to his small Midwestern hometown after years away. The streets that used to feel so alive now seemed stifled, muffled under the weight of time. The faded storefronts, the cracked pavement, and the unmistakable sense of nostalgia hanging like a thick fog. As he strolled through these familiar paths, a sudden movement caught his eye: a small figure rummaging through a dumpster. A young girl, probably no older than 12, her hair tousled and clothes dragging on the ground, dug with an intensity that spoke of a fierce determination. This was Anna, a girl whose struggle penetrated the glitzy bubble Jake now inhabited. "Just one more banana," she muttered, elbow deep in scraps. The sight was jarring. In that moment, the world of golden towers and bank statements faded, replaced by the stark simplicity of her reality. Jake's heart tightened. Here was a child scavenging for food. Anna, with large, hopeful eyes and a spirit fiercer than most adults, gathered scraps not just for herself but to share with families who didn't know where their next meal would come from. Her warmth and compassion struck a chord deep within him. He watched as she handed a bruised apple to an older woman, her smile like a sunbeam piercing through the clouds of hardship. "Here, Mrs. Jones. I found this." The woman's face lit up, and for a moment, they shared a bond, one strengthened through struggle. It dawned on Jake, this girl, this small embodiment of resilience, faced battles far greater than any market downturn he ever knew. Just as Jake thought he understood Anna, he found himself showcased in the local gossip. "Billionaire comes to save the town," they said, twisting his real intentions. Before long, a public debate erupted over a shiny new community center he had proposed, one aimed to uplift the community but, ironically, threatened to overshadow the very lives like Anna's it was supposed to help. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As Jake threw himself into community discussions, the tension escalated. Anna began to withdraw, feeling boxed in by Jake's well-meaning but misguided offers of help. His wealth, meant to bridge gaps, instead drew dividing lines. Misunderstandings fueled prejudices, but Anna, always the firecracker, challenged him. "You can't fix everything with money," she exclaimed once, her voice ringing with the kind of fiery spirit that left him speechless. Then came the shocking revelation about Anna's mother, pulled him deeper into the complexities of reality. It wasn't just about charity, it was about understanding, about dignity and respect for every person's journey. With every unexpected twist, Jake and Anna stood at a crossroads, grappling with questions of worthiness and connection. As they navigated misunderstandings and hurt, tension bubbled, forcing both of them to confront the reality: change wouldn't come from wealth alone. They needed to work as allies, an unlikely duo determined to make their community better. Could they forge a path forward, hand in hand, or would the shadows of their past misunderstandings tear them apart? Only time would tell what awaited them next. Jake awoke to the sounds of his hometown, the soft hum of the morning breeze mixed with the distant laughter of children filtering through the cracks of his rented house. He needed a plan, a way to bridge the growing divide between him and Anna. The weight of his intentions pressed heavily on him as he recalled her fiery retort about money. He had to make her see he wasn't the enemy. After breakfast, he drove to the site of the proposed community center, determined to get Anna on board. Maybe she'd even help him design it. If only she could see that his wealth could back her ideas, dreams that had been long neglected. As he parked, he spotted her from a distance. She was with a group of kids, sharing the few items she had scrounged up. Their laughter and joy radiated into the morning sun. It was a picture of innocence, captivating yet stark against the backdrop of desperate circumstances. "Hey, Anna," he called out, his voice steady. The children paused, whispers fading as she turned. For a moment, Jake could see the flicker of hesitation in her eyes, the instinct to shrink back. But then she stood tall, her pride roaring like a lion. "What do you want, Mr. Thompson?" she said, crossing her arms defiantly. The tension was electric. The kids shifted their weight, torn between curiosity and loyalty to their friend. "I want to talk about the community center." "I need your help," he said, lowering his voice, knowing earnestness could shine through better without the throngs of onlookers. "I think you could bring really valuable ideas to the table." Anna's gaze flickered away for a moment, studying the ground with a mixture of disbelief and hurt. "Why should I trust you? You think you can just swoop in and take over?" Her voice cracked slightly, revealing vulnerability beneath the tough exterior. "No, that's not it at all. I truly want to listen. I know I've made mistakes," he admitted. "But I've seen how hard you work for your community. I want this center to be a place that respects and uplifts your ideas, your needs." The kids around Anna exchanged glances. Their allegiance oscillated between Jake and Anna, reflecting the complex web of loyalty and mistrust in the air. Anna's face softened but only for a moment. "Money doesn't fix everything, you know," she shot back, holding her ground. "I know it doesn't," he replied. "But it can bring people together. I want to put my resources to work for your vision." Though he struggled to find the right words, his heart felt heavy with desire to create real change. Anna stepped forward, her curious spark shining through. "And what makes you think I'd have any say in it? You'll just build your shiny building, and we'll be forgotten again." Jake paused, feeling every ounce of his wealthy privilege weigh him down. "Okay, if you help me, I promise to include you in every step. You'll have full say in how this community center functions. Don't you want a place where kids can come to learn, to play?" Silence loomed, but he could sense something shifting inside her. "What time do you want to meet?" she finally asked, albeit begrudgingly. There was a flicker of hope in her eyes, and it ignited a surge of optimism in him. "Tomorrow, after school. I'll bring some ideas. I want to hear yours." A hint of a smile broke through Anna's guarded facade, but only for a heartbeat. "Fine," she said, turning to leave, determination lining her features. "But you better not waste my time." As the kids resumed their play, Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him. Maybe, just maybe, they could not only fix the misunderstanding but also build something impactful together. As he drove away, however, doubt lingered in the back of his mind. Would it be enough to convince a girl like Anna? Could he really understand the heart of the people he wanted to help? With a deep breath, he focused on tomorrow, curious about what Anna would reveal. But deep down, he knew this connection was more than a community project. It was a reckoning, the beginning of a journey neither of them had anticipated. Jake spent a restless night, his mind racing with thoughts about Anna. He knew they had taken a small step toward bridging their gap, but it felt fragile, like a delicate glass sculpture balancing on the edge of a table. He tossed and turned in his bed, the shadows of midnight stretching across the room as he replayed their conversation. Morning light cracked through the curtains, warm and inviting, but it offered little comfort. He showered, letting the water wash away his doubts, but the knot in his stomach remained. What if Anna didn't come? What if she dismissed his ideas as just another wealthy man's flop? As he drove toward the school, anxiety twisted in his chest. He parked the car and stepped out, walking toward the entrance, trying to gather his thoughts. The laughter of students echoed in the hallway, a contrast to the dread that clung to him. He leaned against the cold cinderblock wall and waited, tapping his foot slightly, willing time to speed up. When the final bell rang, the buzz of students filled the air, and Jake's heartbeat quickened. He spotted Anna across the courtyard, surrounded by her friends and the same group of children from before. She had a soft smile, but it faded as her eyes locked onto him. The playful atmosphere shifted as she approached, a storm cloud gathered behind her brow. "Just so you know, I have my limits, she stated clearly, moving to stand toe-to-toe with him. If this is another one of your ploys no ploys, he interrupted, holding up his hands as if to shield himself from her words. I promise to be genuine. Today is about hearing you. They walked side by side toward a nearby park, the scent of fresh-cut grass filling the air. Anna's posture remained tense, but Jake sensed she was beginning to consider him as an ally instead of a threat. They settled on a bench, the children scattering nearby, their laughter filling the space between them. I've been thinking about the center, she began slowly, her eyes narrowing as she spoke. What would it really include? It can't just be a building. It needs life, community, a heartbeat. Jake nodded, eager. Exactly. It should reflect what the community already has, not what I think it needs. I want to showcase the art, the music, the culture here. Anna hesitated, her brow furrowing. You really mean that? Absolutely. I want this to be our project, not just mine. What do you think the center should include? She pondered for a moment, carefully choosing her words. We need a library, a space where kids can read, study, and dream. Her voice grew stronger, passion bubbling beneath the surface. Also, a garden where we can learn to grow food, maybe even run workshops. Her ideas poured out, vivid and colorful, each suggestion a seed of inspiration. Jake listened intently, jotting down notes furiously, feeling excitement bubbling in him. She lit up more with every idea she shared, her frustrations and fears fading like shadows retreating before the light of dawn. Wait, Anna said, cutting through the enthusiasm, a thoughtful expression on her face. Why do you care so much? What's in it for you? Jake hesitated, the question hanging heavy in the air. The truth was he had his reasons, but the depth of his intentions was layered, tied to guilt and need for redemption. He took a breath, choosing honesty over charm. I grew up in a world full of privilege. I lost sight of what truly mattered along the way. Wanting to give back isn't just about wealth. It's about understanding and connection. I just want to make things right. Her eyes softened, the hardness melting back into intrigue. But what if you fail? The thought prickled at him, but he couldn't let fear dictate his path. Then we fail together. But I promise I'll try my best. You'll help me? He asked, unwavering. There was a silence, but it had transformed. This time, it wasn't a wall but a moment of shared vulnerability. Anna finally nodded slowly, a cautious smile breaking through. Okay, then. Let's make it something beautiful. As they began brainstorming in earnest, Jake felt the warmth of hope settling in his heart. They were building a bridge, but not just between their lives, but also their dreams. However, amidst their enthusiasm, he couldn't shake off the feeling that this partnership would lead to challenges he wasn't ready for. As Anna's laughter mixed with the sound of children playing, Jake sensed that this was only the beginning, the first brushstroke on a larger canvas, but as he looked into Anna's eyes, he wondered, could their goals truly align, or was there a storm brewing beneath the calm surface? The days following their meeting unfolded like a delicate dance. Jake found himself retreating to the park every afternoon, eager to explore more of Anna's vision. They mapped out ideas, sat surrounded by laughter, and tangled their dreams together like threads in a tapestry. But with each session, an unshakable tension loomed. Anna's guarded demeanor never fully disappeared, and Jake knew that trust was a fragile thing. They agreed to meet regularly, but it felt like a tentative step into uncharted waters. One afternoon, as fluffy clouds floated lazily across the sky, Anna brought a new stack of books. These are great! Jake exclaimed, running his fingers over the well-worn covers. We could set up a reading corner. Yeah, Anna replied, her eyes sparkling momentarily. And I thought we could host story hours for the kids. Imagine them gathered around, wide-eyed, hanging on every word. A warmth enveloped him at the thought, fueling his enthusiasm. Let's do it, he declared, his voice firm. There was something magical about her ideas, igniting a fire in him he thought he had long extinguished. But as they spoke, Jake noticed the shadow flicker across Anna's face. "What is it?" he asked gently. She tugged at her sleeves, the vulnerability appearing briefly before she masked it with an easy smile. "I just want to make sure this is all real. That we can actually pull it off." Jake felt a pang of empathy. "I get it. But we have to believe in our ideas." The following week, they arranged a community meeting, hoping to gather support for their vision. Jake put up flyers around the neighborhood, and to his surprise, people were excited. He felt a swell of pride when he saw neighbors stop by, glancing at the peppy flyers. Yet as anticipation built, his inner doubt crept back. What if this was a mistake? He glanced at Anna, who stood chatting with a small group of children. They adored her. She had a way of connecting, of making each child feel seen. As the sun dipped below the horizon, their first meeting gathered a small crowd. The room buzzed with chatter, excitement and skepticism dancing in the air. Jake stood near Anna, anxiety knotting his stomach. He cleared his throat to speak, but worry clawed at him. Hey everyone," he began, faltering slightly. The unfamiliar spotlight made his throat go dry. "I'm Jake, and this is Anna. We want to talk about a community center." Anna jumped in, her voice strong and confident. "We want to create a space for everyone, a place for learning, art, and community." People leaned in, their interest piqued. Children giggled, adults exchanged glances, and a spark of hope ignited. But then came the questions, challenging and critical. "Sounds great, but how will you fund this?" one mother asked. "What if it doesn't work?" another chimed in. Jake felt the air thicken. He had prepared for support, not skepticism. As he glanced at Anna, he saw her fear mirrored in his own eyes. But she took a deep breath, her determination resurfacing. "We have ideas. Community gardens, workshops. We want to hear what everyone thinks." Jake joined forces with her, answering every question, fending off doubts like a team. It felt good. He felt like he was stepping into a world he could belong to. If they worked together, maybe, just maybe, they could build something meaningful. As the meeting wrapped up, people were buzzing with ideas, but Jake's heart raced with uncertainty. They had supporters, yes, but the challenges loomed large. Could they truly create the vision they had dreamed of, or were they simply chasing an illusion? Walking back through the darkening streets, Jake felt a mix of exhilaration and dread. What lay ahead felt monumental. But Anna's laughter echoed in his ears, reminding him of the spark that had brought them together. Even shadows cast by uncertainty couldn't dim the bright ember of hope he felt. Just as he was ready to dismiss the moment as fleeting, his phone buzzed in his pocket. A text from Anna lit up the screen. "Can we meet tomorrow? I need to talk about something important." Jake's heart sank, curiosity tugging at him. What was she thinking? And more importantly, what did she mean? The next morning, anxiety knotted in Jake's stomach like a tightrope. He arrived early at their usual park bench, his eyes scanning the path for Anna. The autumn leaves danced in the breeze, a vivid reminder that change was in the air. He ran through worst-case scenarios in his mind. What if she was having second thoughts? What if she wanted to back out? "Hey!" Anna's voice broke through his worries as she approached, her face a mixture of excitement and apprehension. She changed into a cozy sweater, her cheeks slightly flushed against the morning chill. "Hi. You okay?" he asked, forcing a smile even as his heart raced. "Yeah, just, had a lot on my mind." She sat beside him, her fingers nervously fidgeting with the hem of her sweater. A silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken words. Jake shifted on the bench, trying to find the right moment to ask what was bothering her. He could sense that whatever was brewing beneath Anna's calm surface had the potential to shift their dreams, and he had to be ready for it. "About last night," she started, glancing down at the ground as if it held the answers they both sought. I've been thinking about how to fund this community center, and I've come up with some ideas. Jake felt a rush of hope. Really? That's awesome. What do you have? She took a deep breath, looking up at him with newfound determination. We could start small. Maybe a fundraising event at the park. Something fun to bring everyone together, like a festival. We could reach out to local businesses for donations, partner up with schools. His heart surged. I love that. A festival sounds perfect. It can get people involved and make them feel part of something big. But just as optimism began to bloom, her expression hardened slightly. Jake, there is something else we need to talk about. The reality is I don't have any financial backing. I've been trying to keep my bills in check. It's hard. I don't know if I can contribute financially to this project like I'd hoped. You might have to lead the way. Her words hit him like a cold wave, tempering the warmth of their dreams. It's okay. We'll figure it out, he reassured her, though doubt flickered in his mind. But what if I can't keep up? What if it all falls through? The concern in Anna's voice rang loud and clear. Jake could see the fear behind her eyes, the fear of failing, not just for herself but for all the children they aspired to help. He reached out, taking her hand in his. We're in this together, Anna. We'll work through the funding. It's not just on you. I feel like this is bigger than just us, but we can't let fear cloud our vision. Anna looked down at their hands, her heart seeming to pulse against his palm. I want to believe that, she whispered, hesitation lacing her words. Jake glanced at the park, the rustling leaves reminding him of the changing seasons, of transition. Let's make a list. We can brainstorm sponsors. Local businesses, restaurants, anyone who might want to join us. Her eyes brightened slightly, a flicker of that spark. You think they would? I believe we can convince them. We'll represent this community and show them how much it means to us. The heaviness subsided a bit, but uncertainty lingered, simmering below the surface. As they leaned into their ideas, the energy shifted between them. There was now something deeper than the project, like a shared dream knitted tighter with every hopeful glance. Just as they were rattling off names and plans, Anna's phone buzzed. She pulled it out, glancing quickly at the screen. Her expression shifted, worry clouding her brow. Jake, it's from my landlord. It's about my rent. His heart dropped at the panic splashed across her face. What could it possibly say? What does it say? She bit her lip, visibly trembling as she read the message. I might need to come up with the payment today or else. Jake's mind raced, stalling on how swiftly reality could crush a budding dream. Okay, what can we do? He asked, his own heart pounding now. Anna's struggles were more real than he ever imagined. But before she could answer, her phone buzzed again. Her expression drifted from fear to disbelief as she read a new message. Wait, she murmured, staring at the screen as if it was a lifeline. She looked up at him, eyes wide, hope and trepidation battling for dominance. I think I may have a lead. Just not the one I was expecting. Jake leaned closer, anticipation crackling between them. What could turn everything around? And what did she mean? Anna's voice trembled as she surveyed the words on her screen again. It's from a community group. They heard about our project and want to know if we'd be willing to present it at their meeting tonight. They could help us get sponsors and funding. A wave of hope washed over Jake. That's amazing. In just one day, things could change. But what do you mean by not the one I was expecting? I didn't think I'd be the one presenting. I thought it might come from a bigger organization or someone with more experience. Her brow furrowed in worry. What if I mess it up? Listen, he said, squeezing her hand. You're the one with the vision. You've got the passion. They need to hear your story. But what if I forget everything? What if they ask questions I can't answer? Her voice nearly broke. Jake's heart ached seeing her unravel. Hey, look at me. When her eyes met his, he felt a charge of determination. You believe in this project. You care about these kids and this community, and that's what really matters. Just speak from your heart. Anna nodded slowly, taking a deep breath. You're right. But I'll still need you there. I can't do this alone. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. His words were firm, and they carried a reassurance that soothed her worries. As they batted ideas back and forth, Jake's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and glanced, seeing a message from his own landlord. A notice about late fees due to an oversight in his job income. It sent a tremor of anxiety through him. Oh great, just what I needed, he mumbled under his breath, trying to keep the frustration off his face. What's up? Anna asked, noticing the shift in his demeanor. Just nothing. I'll figure it out later. He didn't want to burden her with his troubles right now. They were on the brink of something bigger, together. But you know you can talk to me, right? Her voice was soft but piercing. I do. I appreciate it. He forced a smile, trying to shake off his own turbulence. They spent the rest of the morning planning, sketching out slides for the presentation and jotting down notes on key points to hit. The air between them crackled with tentative excitement. It felt like they were building a bridge towards something transformative, not just for the community center, but for each of their futures. As the sun dipped lower, casting golden hues across the park, Anna gathered her things, biting her bottom lip. I should head home and practice. Yeah, me too, Jake said, resting a hand on her arm. You've got this. Just remember, whoever there wants to see you succeed. They feel your passion. Just before she could walk away, she turned back to him, her eyes serious. Thanks for being here. I don't think I could do this without you. Always, Anna. We'll make this work. As she walked away, Jake felt a mix of pride and uncertainty. The upcoming presentation loomed like a storm cloud above him, heavy with anticipation and unrealized possibilities. That evening, Jake sat on his bed staring at the blank wall across from him, the weight of both their struggles pressing down. And just then, his phone buzzed again. It was a message from a friend he hadn't spoken to in ages offering a job opportunity he never expected. Could this be the lifeline he needed? Or another distraction from what really mattered? The question spiraled in his mind as he stared at the screen, the glow illuminating the doubts and dreams echoing through his heart. Would this change everything once more? His pulse quickened. The night felt electric, exhilarating and full of uncertainty. Jake stood and paced the small confines of his room, the weight of his friend's message pressing on him. A job opportunity could mean stability, something he longed for. But what if accepting it took him away from Anna, from their shared project? He needed the extra income to ease the burden of rent. His phone buzzed again, a reminder of the clock ticking down to Anna's presentation. He decided to set the job aside for now and focus on what really mattered, being there for her. Later that evening, Anna practiced her speech in front of the living room mirror, her notes sprawled on the coffee table. The room was dimly lit, adding to her anxiety. Each time she stumbled over a word, her heart sank a little deeper. What if it wasn't enough? Anna, you're going to knock it out of the park, she said to her reflection, though she could hardly recognize the girl staring back. Shadows danced beneath her eyes, and her cheeks felt flush. She picked up her notebook again, forcing herself to read through the points she tirelessly crafted. But they began to blur together. All she could think about was how important tonight was. Just remember who you're doing this for, she whispered. These kids need a chance. With the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders, Anna took a deep breath and straightened her posture. She was more than just a voice standing in front of people, she was the hope for a better future. As she practiced, her phone buzzed with a notification from Jake. I believe in you. You've got this. It was a simple text, but it wrapped around her like a warm blanket. She smiled, letting his encouragement fill the room. At the community center, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. A group of locals gathered, vibrant energy flowing through the air. But for Anna, doubt flickered like a candle in the wind. The sensation of hands sweating against her notes tightened her stomach into knots as they called her name. Taking her first steps onto the stage felt surreal. The lights dimmed above her, and a spotlight flickered on, bathing her in warmth. There was Jake in the front row, his reassuring smile cutting through her anxiety. With his presence firing her up, she took a deep breath and forced a smile of her own. "Good evening, everyone," Anna started, her voice wavering slightly. "Thank you for being here. I'm excited to share our project with you." As she launched into her story, her words began to flow. She spoke of the kids, the community, and the real change they could create together. The crowd seemed to hang on to every syllable, and with each passing moment, Anna grew more confident, but then, a voice piped up from the back, interrupting her flow. "How do you plan to address the funding gaps? What are your numbers?" The question smacked her in the gut, her mind briefly shutting down. Her thoughts scattered, racing away like leaves in a storm. Jake's eyes locked onto hers, and something in his gaze sparked a flicker of determination. She cleared her throat, wiping the fear from her face, and responded, "We have plans in place, and I believe with the right support we can make a difference." The crowd murmured, reacting to her newfound resolve. As her speech came to a close, Anna ended with a heartfelt plea. "This isn't just a project, it's a lifeline for our children. Together, we can give them hope." The applause washed over her, igniting every fiber of her being. She'd done it. But as she stepped off the stage, the lingering question from earlier crept back into her mind: what if it wasn't enough? Jake met her with an embrace, lifting her spirits. "You were incredible, Anna. They need to hear you." But just as the rush of adrenaline faded, a hand touched her shoulder. It was one of the community leaders, a stern expression on his face. "We need to talk about your financial plan. It's not as clear-cut as you think." A chill ran down Anna's spine. Had it all been for nothing? Anna's heart raced as she faced the community leader. What do you mean?" She stammered, a lump forming in her throat. His brow furrowed, and his voice softened slightly. "You have passion and a vision, but passion alone won't get you the funding you need. You need solid numbers, a well-thought-out budget. Without that, I'm afraid it's going to be a tough sell." She swallowed hard. "But I've put so much into this. The kids are counting on us." "I understand that," he replied, but his tone didn't change. "The reality is, people want to see facts. They want to see how every dollar turns into something concrete, and without clear financial details, it's going to be difficult to get support." Anna nodded, feeling the weight of his words settle into her chest. She had dedicated herself to giving hope to those kids, but she had overlooked the nitty-gritty. The thought of letting them down was unbearable. "Hey, don't let this ruin your night," Jake murmured, wrapping an arm around her as they walked away from the crowd. "You killed it out there. They believe in you, and we can tackle this together." She appreciated the sentiment, but it did little to ease the turmoil churning inside her. "What if I can't figure it out? What if I fail?" His grip tightened, and he turned her to face him. "You won't fail. You're strong and determined. We just need to get a handle on the numbers. Let's work on it together. You're not alone in this." Anna took a breath, attempting to draw strength from his words. "You really think so?" "I know so," he said with conviction. "We'll put together a financial plan that'll impress them. I'll help however I can. We can brainstorm at my place tonight, if you want." A flicker of hope ignited inside her. "That would be amazing, Jake. Thank you." As they made their way out of the community center, the buzz of the crowd faded away, but Anna's mind raced. What had started as a night of triumph now felt shadowed by uncertainty. They would need to work hard, and fast. Back at Jake's apartment, they spread out papers, notes, and an array of colored pens across the floor. They settled in, mapping every idea she had on the project. Jake brought his laptop, and they started crunching numbers. Each calculation felt like a step forward, but with every equation, a nagging question squirmed in Anna's mind: would it be enough? Hours passed as they lost themselves in figures and projections. The once comforting late-night ambience shifted into a frantic atmosphere. They couldn't ignore the mounting pressure that loomed over their plans. "Okay," Jake said after a while, leaning back with a sigh. "So, here's what we have so far." Anna felt her heart quicken. This was it. This was their chance to make something happen. But the pressure bore down harder the more they mapped it out. What if it still doesn't meet their expectations? Jake looked at her, his gaze steady. "It will, Anna. Trust the hard work we're putting in. You really believe in this project, right? That's what matters. Passion can't be accounted for in numbers, but it can drive us to make those numbers work." His words inspired something in her. For the first time, she felt a flicker of determination. "You're right. Let us make it the best plan we can." As they dove back into their work, Anna felt just a little lighter. Time slipped past, and before long, dawn light peeked through the window, casting a soft glow across the papers spread before them. But just as she allowed herself a moment of hope, her phone buzzed, and Anna's heart sank as she saw the message flash across the screen: "Your application has been denied. They need a more detailed proposal." The words echoed in her mind, crashing through the early morning hope like a tidal wave. Was it all slipping away before it even began? "Anna?" Jake's voice broke through her thoughts. He looked at her, concern etched on his face. "What's wrong?" "Everything feels like it's falling apart," she admitted, feeling the tears prick at the corners of her eyes. Jake reached out, holding her hand, but she could sense the tremor of uncertainty beneath his grip. "We'll fix this," he said. But even he seemed unsure, the fear of failure tightened around her. She glanced at the screen again, her heart sinking. How could they overcome this setback? And as they both stared into the early morning light, a question loomed: was their dream too fragile to survive? Anna's heart raced as she held the phone, the words blurring through her tears. "Denied." It felt like a slap in the face, a stark reminder of how easily dreams could shatter. She squeezed Jake's hand tighter, as if he could absorb some of the pain. "What do we do now?" she asked, her voice small. The worry etched in Jake's brow reflected what she felt inside, a mix of anxiety and determination. Jake took a deep breath, letting it out slowly. "First, I think we need to regroup. Take a step back and look at what they're asking for. We know the project is important, we just need to present it better." Anna nodded, but the doubt lingered like a specter. "And what if this isn't enough? What if we can't get it right?" The tears broke free, spilling over. She wiped her eyes, feeling a bit foolish. "I'm sorry. I don't want to let anyone down. The kids are counting on us." He gently wiped the tears from her cheek and said, "You're not letting anyone down. This is just a bump in the road, a new challenge for us to tackle. We'll figure it out." Anna gazed at him, a mix of gratitude and despair swirling in her chest. "How can you be so sure?" "Because I believe in you," he said, meeting her eyes. "And I believe in this project. Look, a detailed proposal doesn't mean we have to change the core of what we're doing. We can expand on what's already there and make it even better. We just need to break it down into manageable pieces." Taking a deep breath, Anna nodded. "Okay. Let us do it." They swung into action again, setting aside their initial plans. They created a strategy, tackling one section at a time. Budget breakdowns, timeline projections, and clearer funding goals emerged as they worked. With every graph, Anna felt some of the weight lift from her shoulders. "Look at this," Jake said, pointing to the screen. "If we explain how each part of the program impacts the kids' lives, we can show them the real value. We're not just asking for money, we're giving them a chance to invest in futures." Anna couldn't help but smile. That's brilliant. If they see the faces of the kids who will benefit, they might connect on a deeper level. As the morning sun rose higher, illuminating the mess of papers around them, Anna felt a spark of hope reignite. It was still a long way to go, but with Jake beside her, the task felt less daunting. Their laughter returned, filled with a sense of camaraderie that eased the tension. "Okay, so how do we wrap this up?" Jake asked, glancing over at her. "Let's print it out and give it one last review," Anna suggested, excitement bubbling inside her. "I want to make sure we have everything down perfectly." Jake nodded, and they printed the proposal they spent the night fine-tuning. As the printer whirred, Anna felt a rush of adrenaline. She was ready to fight for this dream, not just for herself, but for every child who believed in it. Looking at each other, they shared a moment of understanding. They were battling for something bigger than themselves, a chance to make a real difference in their community. Anna took a deep breath, pulling up her stance. "Let's do this." But just when things appeared to be falling into place, the doorbell rang, and Anna's stomach twisted with uncertainty. Who could it be at this hour? Jake exchanged a quick glance with her. "I'll get it," he said, rising to his feet. As he opened the door, a figure in a crisp suit stepped into the light of the doorway. Anna's heart dropped. She recognized him immediately, the ruthless businessman who had a stake in their town's developments. What did he want here? "Is Anna here?" he asked, his voice cold and direct. A chill coursed through Anna. She could feel the shadow of dread creeping in. What had she not accounted for? And in that moment, Anna realized that their battle was far from over. Jake felt a tension ripple through the room as he turned to Anna, sensing her apprehension. He couldn't help but feel an instinctual urge to protect her. "Yeah, I'm Anna," she said, her voice firm despite the flutter of anxiety in her stomach. The businessman's sharp gaze settled on her, as if sizing her up. "I heard about your proposal," he said, his tone clipped. "I have some ideas of my own regarding your community center. I think you might be more successful if you aligned yourself with someone who has the capital to back this project the right way." Anna's heart raced. "What do you mean?" she asked, each word punctuated with defiance. He stepped further into the room, his well-tailored blazer accentuating how out of place he was in Jake's cozy apartment. "Look, I get what you're trying to do. But believe me, this is a business. A neighborhood center needs funds. Money can't wait for dreams to blossom. I can make it happen." Jake stepped forward protectively. "She doesn't need your money. We've been working hard to come up with a plan that fits the community's needs." The man chuckled, a cold sound that echoed in the room. "Hard work is great, but without the financial support, your efforts mean little. I suggest you reconsider my offer." Anna felt the fire within her ignite, and she turned towards Jake, their eyes connecting in a moment of understanding. "We don't want to compromise our vision. Not for the sake of quick cash. This center isn't just another project, it's a part of us, part of the community." The businessman shrugged, unimpressed. "Suit yourselves. But I can guarantee the center as you envision it will never materialize without proper financial backing." With that, he gave a dismissive wave and walked away, leaving a thick silence in his wake. Anna clenched her fists, the space seemingly shrinking around her. "He's right about one thing," she muttered, the doubt creeping back in. "What we're trying to do is a massive undertaking. How can we compete with that?" Jake shook his head, stepping closer to her. "He doesn't understand what we're building, Anna. This is our chance to create something meaningful. We can gather the community around our vision instead of selling it out." A resolve washed over Anna. "Exactly. We can showcase what this community truly stands for." Jake nodded, the fire in her words igniting his own resolve again. They turned back to the mess of papers scattered across the room. "Let's pull together a fresh plan, then," he said. "One that showcases our commitment, our financial needs, and the real impact we want to make." They dove into action, hearts racing with every reworked line of the proposal. They mapped out the community's strength, its vibrant culture, the connections between neighbors, and the magic of teamwork. Those were the foundations they needed to present. As dawn began to streak the sky, they printed their new proposal, ensuring it was polished and complete. Hope surged between them as they stood shoulder to shoulder, ready to face whatever lay ahead. The next community meeting buzzed with chatter as they prepared to present again. Anna could distinctly feel the pulse of support surrounding her. The question about funding came before she had a chance to speak. Her resolve flared, and she stood tall at the podium. While it's important to secure funds, Anna began, her voice steady, what's more significant is creating a center for everyone. This isn't simply about numbers, it's about the people who will walk through those doors. Together, we can forge a place filled with possibility and hope. We invite anyone who is willing to believe in this vision, not just with money but with their hearts. The crowd shifted, murmurs filled the space. Jake felt a thrill run through him as he realized how passionately Anna spoke of their purpose. A local businesswoman raised her hand, speaking up. "I think I can help with some funding on my end. I love what you're creating here." More voices chimed in, others lending support or ideas, and with each person standing behind Anna, the weight of fear lifted and hope blossomed. Instead, in that moment, Jake realized that this was what he needed to learn from Anna. It was never only about wealth, it was about faith in community, standing firm against the odds, dreaming lofty dreams and pursuing them together. As the meeting wrapped up, applause thundered through the room. Anna had ignited something. Afterward, as people filtered out, Anna turned to Jake, a radiance lighting up her face. "We did it. They believed in us." Jake grinned, wrapping an arm around her. "We did it together, Anna. You made them see." They stood on the edge of something profound, both knowing that they wouldn't just build a community center, they would build connections, create memories, and establish a new foundation of resilience for everyone involved. In that shared, joyous moment, they felt the power of their connection deepen, revealing the possibility of not just transforming their community but each other as well. This was where their story was meant to lead, toward hope and understanding, hand in hand as partners surging into the unknown. As they left the building, arms raised in triumph, Jake smiled at Anna. He realized the most valuable investment he could make wasn't simply funding their project, but investing in her, their shared journey, and the community they were bound to uplift. So let us not just dream, let us act. Join the movement. You need to subscribe now to follow this incredible journey. Hit that like button now and help us feed the algorithm so more people can feel this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need a dose of hope today. Your support matters more than you know.